Well, Ben, it's 6:35, so I'll let
For
you take
sure.
it away.
Okay, awesome. So hopefully some more people filter in as we get started, but we're gonna get started. So my name's Ben Oaken. I'm currently acting as the climate action educator for SaskOutdoors, and I'm joined by Emily Rayner from the EcoSchools Canada team. And the whole point of this session tonight is to go through the resources that EcoSchools has to offer, so that we can, so that you are able to incorporate those action cards into your classroom and do the first steps into creating climate change education in your classroom. So I'd like to just acknowledge that I'm presenting from Treaty 6 territory. Um, Land is so important and at the heart of this kind of learning, as we are all connected by this land and treaty. It is my hope that how we interact with the land can act as a path towards developing our relationships with each other. The land can teach us to honor and respect the past and invite us to move forward in peace and respect. It is our responsibility to come together to find guidance from histories, languages, and cultures, which gives us strength to our understanding and community kinship for the present and future. We can reconcile and repair our relationships to one another through a combined stewardship of our shared natural environment and its inhabitants. Let us share love of land, be the catalyst for a love of each other, and let us find a unified voice to speak on behalf of the natural world, its inhabitants, and life-living gifts. So, if you want to just put in the chat what treaty you're viewing from, and yeah, and so that's pretty much my intro. And I'm going to let Emily, who is the expert on EcoSchools, kind of talk about the platform, and yeah, we'll get into it and answer any questions you guys may have at the end.
All right, hello. So my name is Emily Rayner. I'm the programs coordinator at EcoSchools Canada, and I am directly overseeing our Saskatchewan platform. So I'm so excited to be able to share with you all today a little bit about the program and what we're hoping to do for Saskatchewan specifically. Is my screen sharing properly? Perfect. um, so what I thought I'd do today is I would show you our platform. So most of the program lays on the platform. So I'm just going to do a quick demo where I show you sort of what's on the platform. It can be a little bit overwhelming to look at, so I have a little bit of a walkthrough. And then I thought if we could take some time to either go through together and create plans, or at least get you registered and set up. I have an account. Well, if you were to email this EcoSchools, I would be the one who would respond to you. So I can help you with any issues we have with registering or setting up. So we will for sure get everybody on the right path today, if that's what you're interested in.
Oh,
So here
sorry,
you,
Emily.
yeah.
Emily, sorry, I totally forgot to mention that. Just so you're aware, we're recording the session just so we can post it on our website for people, so we can refer to it. So people who are interested later on can set up and access all of this great stuff. So sorry about that. Continue.
Perfect. So it sounds like if you would rather not be in the video, you're welcome to turn your cameras off. So I'll continue, or I'll get started. So when you log in to the EcoSchools app, the ECA, the EcoSchool Certification app, this is the page that you're going to be greeted with. So you see there's a little image here that says Saskatchewan platform. And what we see right at the beginning here, so this is called the dashboard. This is sort of a little bit of an overview page. You're going to see a plan progress bar, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about a plan and points, and what the point of this is. But what you're able to do here is essentially EcoSchools offers a variety of actions, and you're able to take these on with your class. And by filling out questions about how your class undertook these actions, you're able to gain points. And so those points can be used to go towards certification. So EcoSchools Canada is the national branch of an international organization. So you would be internationally recognized as an eco-school if you manage to get 50 or more points. And we'll go over that in a minute, what that looks like. So down here, we have sort of a little area where you get to get a little bit of information from us. So right now, why not, you're here. We have a contest going, and You can win $500 to $1,000 for your school by posting a social media post. We're also offering drop-in hours with our staff, and we have a ton of resources on our website. So down here, we're always just posting interesting things that you might want to know a little bit more about. So that is down here. And then at the very bottom, we have our deadlines. So our deadline, the big deadline for the year, is when all of this is due for certification review, and that is May 10th. So what is the program? The program essentially allows schools to take on a variety of actions. So here you can see, I hope I can, you know what, I think I'll just zoom out a little bit so you can see a little better how many different actions we have here. So we have over 50 actions that your school is able to sort of pick and choose the ones that work best for you. So let's say, for example, your school is interested in doing a waste-free lunch. So you can click on waste-free lunch, and here you can read a little bit about it. I'm going to zoom back in now so we can see the words. You can read a little bit about it. When you hit Action Guide, here you get a full guide on how you can do this kind of action with your class or with your Eco Club. So one wonderful thing about EcoSchools is it can be integrated. It works really well as an after-school club or a green team, but it can also be integrated into many classrooms. And we'll talk a little bit about the curriculum connections in a moment. So in the action guide for every action, it tells you what to consider before you begin, steps as you're getting started, tips and tricks, as we've seen many schools accomplish these. EcoSchools Canada is only a few years old, but stemmed from EcoSchools Ontario, which is over 20 years old. So there's been a lot of learning that's being shared in this area. We also have materials that we've created. So you'll see these here and in the resource section. And then one thing I always think is really important, especially for bringing this into classroom, is we always have an area called Extend the Learning. So this is always pulling it into the climate justice movement or reconciliation or a local cause. And we're always just giving a couple suggestions of things you might want to talk about with your class, ways you can bring this a little bit further. So under resources, you have our EcoSchools resources. So if we click English here, you can see we have all of our resources that are available with the information, as well as any tracking sheets that might be required. All of these can be filled in either on a computer or printed, whatever works best for your school. Zoom's hiding my bar. Didn't work. Sorry. There we go. The nice thing is, if you are teaching perhaps at a French immersion school, everything we do is offered in French and in English. The entire platform can be switched seamlessly between the two. There you go. And it's we have an entire French team. They're based out of Quebec, and so it's all translated by them and not by an online entity. So for each of our actions, we also have other helpful tools and resources that might be interesting for you to learn a little bit more. Then down here, we have our certification questions. So this just lets our program know how this action looked in your school. This data is really great for two reasons. One, it lets your school kind of keep track of what it looked like. So let's say next year you want to run a similar event, you can go back here and see all of the information. It also allows us to gather really important data that I'm going to show you what we do with that and how it can help inspire students in a few moments. But this is where you can actually fill in a little bit of information. So teachers and staff are invited to fill in information, but students can also create accounts as well. And I'll show you in a little bit here how to create accounts for students, if that's something that interests you. So especially your older students, we love to get them involved in leading, picking out the plans, and then they can go into here and they can fill out this information. All of these can also be printed as PDFs if you want to print these out and bring these the entire action plans, you can. There's a couple more sections up here as we're just exploring an action. We have a curriculum section. Right now, the curriculum section is just giving us some ideas of how this might tie into the classroom in a very broad way. We are doing some work over the next couple of years. The goal would be hopefully for next year that we're going to actually have the Saskatchewan curriculum links in there that will be specifically linked to the Saskatchewan curriculum. But right now, they're just overall ideas of how you might integrate this in a couple of different classes. We always have our UN SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, and how we think those might connect to the action. And then my very favorite part, the EcoSchools in Action tab. This is where you get to see photos of how other schools have taken on this action and to kind of get inspired by the community. So that's what an action looks like. And there's over 50 for you to explore. I'm going to show you a couple more tabs here before I sort of turn it over to you to do a little bit of exploring on your own. So let's say you're interested in the waste-free lunch action. You're in the library, you're like, that sounds great. I think my students would be interested in that. If you click the little plus button here, it'll add it to your plan. And now if we go into our plan, these are the things we're hoping to accomplish this year, we'll see that it has shown up here. A couple of these are locked. You're not able to remove them from your plan. That's the environmental literacy, because that is the foundation of learning about the environment and climate justice, is having that environmental literacy foundation, as well as the getting started, which is just how do you get started with it, building an eco team? How do you start to think about how to integrate these actions into your schools? A couple other little tabs I'll show you is just we have an achievements page. This is a mock school that we just created this year for Saskatchewan, so there's no past certifications or badges yet, but as you continue on with the program, we accumulate your badges here. We have some schools coming up on their 15th year that we've been celebrating. This is another amazing part. This is our impact page. So what's really great about this is where that data that you're filling in those action questions is able to really shine. So right now, again, this is a dummy school, so we're not seeing any data here yet, but you're able to see a little bit about how many hours of outdoor learning, how many actions, how many waste-free lunches, electricity used, waste diverted, and it'll explain to you where the data is coming from. So if you click Take Me There, it'll show you which actions it's pulling this information from. But what's really interesting, and what I really like the most, is that you're able to see, I think I have it set so I can only see a school right now. That's okay. What you should be able to do, and I think I have my own account just set a little bit off here, is you can click to see, oh, there we go. I got rid of the school and it did what I wanted. You can now see all of Canada. And so what's great about that is sometimes our students can feel like, what's the point? Yeah, so we did like a waste-free lunch. And what's the big deal? But when you are able to see, well, how many other students were doing waste-free lunch? How much other waste was diverted? How many trees were planted? When you're able to see the information from across Canada, it makes you feel less like a little drop in a bucket. You can actually see the bucket. So this is one of my favorite things about the platform, is that by actually answering that data, giving in that data, not only does it go towards certification and you get like plaques and awards for your accomplishments that your students can celebrate at the end of the year, but also it allows us to kind of see what we're accomplishing together. It gets that bigger picture view that I think a lot of times when we're doing these smaller actions, a lot of students miss. It's easy to get caught up in, well, I planted one tree, what's the big deal? But when you're able to say, but 6,000 trees were planted across Canada this year through this program, you're like, oh, my tree means something, right? It's part of this bigger group. You can sort of see the building. So the impact page is one of my favorite places and one of my favorite parts of the program. Less interesting, perhaps, is we have all of this information also available in CSV tables. So you're able to download all this information. This can be very helpful for reporting purposes. That's all there for you. So that's sort of my little quick spiel. I tried to go as quick as I could to just kind of pull you through the process. What I thought I could do now is help anyone who hasn't signed up get signed up, and then just help you explore. So the first thing you'll be prompted to do is to create a plan. I recommend that you start by just clicking create a plan now. And if, let's say, you want to get your students involved, you want your students to be an integral part of creating that plan, no problem. I actually can recommend a really wonderful resource that gets your students thinking about which actions do we want to do. But like I said, you can always just add and remove these. So just starting a plan gets get you on the platform, get you looking around, and then if later on your students go, we don't want to do a community cleanup, no worries, you can get rid of it, no problem. And maybe you want to bring it back later, and that's okay too. So maybe I'll show everyone just in case people are watching the recording and can't give me feedback directly here. Alrighty. So you'll be, let's put this in the chat. So when you go here, you'll be able to register. Also, another reason to register is we do have a contest going on right now. So any school that makes a plan in Saskatchewan is immediately entered to win a food cycler. So you can get a little table food cycler and some learning materials that come with it per chance. So another reason to register. So we just want to start by clicking the blue register button, selecting your role, probably we're staff members here. You want to enter your board email. If you try to enter an email that is not a board email, you're going to get rejected by the system. It's one of the ways that we just ensure that this is free and open for all public school teachers, but there are some fees attached for private schools or for other organizations that would like to use the platform. So here you can create yourself a password. You can put in your name. I clicked a button and I reset my page. I typed too fast. So you feel free to follow along with me here if you haven't already. Where did it go? Oh, I need the password. Sense. So here, if you'd like, you can pick a little profile picture, or you can upload your own. So here's where you enter in your school's address. If your school is already in the system and you're just joining into your school, when you enter in the address here, you'll find it. If you look around and you can't find your school, you can click Can't Find Your School. Then you can enter the name of your school. I'm just going to write test today, so I know to delete the school later as I'm not really creating a school. You can let us know what type of school you are. You can put in your board or district. I'll say that I'm part of Saskatoon Public Schools. I'll delete this later. But this just allows, if your board decides to get a board membership, they'll be able to see all the work that your schools are doing as well. And then just your role. Okay, I don't think it liked me trying to use my work email here, but hopefully you were able to get to the last stage there. Was anyone not able to that would like some support in that piece? Alrighty, I'm gonna log back in here. So when you log in, or once you've registered, you should be able to click here on our plan. And unlike me, who sees a plan, you should see a button that says create a plan. So I recommend that we take some time to start there today. Ben suggested giving a little bit of time now for people to explore the program, look through the actions, ask questions. That's my spiel. You might have questions for me, and so I'd like to open up that piece. And if you'd rather just take some time to look through the library and look at things your school might be interested in, you're welcome to do that as well.